Hello, welcome back to another episode of Better Late with Mariela Segovia. My name is Mariela Segovia, and I'm going to be your host for this podcast. This is our third episode, and the best thing about this episode is that you guys have already started watching Better Late. This is an episode that I'm filming after the first two have been released, which is a new experience because I now have feedback. I now have heard from a lot of you about what you think of this podcast. And I have to say, it's very heartwarming and it makes me feel really good to know that so many of you have reached out to tell me that you love it and that you enjoy it and that you feel like you're connecting to it and that there's things about my experiences that you're like, wait, I actually needed to hear that today. So that makes me feel so happy because that is the purpose of this. One of my best friends that lives in New York, her comment was, I felt like I was sitting on the couch with you talking. And that made me feel so good because that's exactly what I want to do. I want to be here and be myself and show you guys who I am and tell you my stories that are crazy. And for years, I've had people around me being like, you need to tell these stories. Like, you need to write a book. But I don't love writing. Writing is hard. Once I tried to do a writing workshop for like TV and film, because I'm an actress in LA, when I first moved, everyone was like, you need to start creating your own project. Like if you want to get anything done, if you want to get any eyes on you, you have to write your own thing. And I was like, well, okay, whenever that happens, I will do it, but I don't want to force it. I don't want to just like be like, I need to write something and let me just brainstorm it. I don't know. I don't like that. I prefer when it comes to me. And then it did come to me one night at like 3 a.m. You know, we're in those moments when you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, I need to take some, not take something. I need to get some water or go to the bathroom or whatever. And if you're toxic like me, sometimes scroll on Instagram at 3 a.m. Unnecessary. So unnecessary. But I woke up and I drank some water and then I went back to bed and I just had this idea of a pilot that I wanted to write that I obviously wanted to be the star of. So I took a writing workshop where I tried developing it. That I didn't do it. Like my goal was to write the pilot. It's hard. I rather let people that know how to write do it. Because I just don't think I'm the most capable for that. And that's okay. You need to recognize that you're not good at everything. And that's fine. You can't be good at everything all the time. There's got to be something that you're like, whoa, I'm really good at this. And there's other stuff that it's like, yeah, I just wasn't born that day. Where they handed out the talent for screenwriting. Will that evolve? I don't know. But for now, writing is not my thing. So writing a book, it's also not a thing that I would love to do. I have to come clean about something. I've recently gotten more confident in this statement that I'm about to say because at first I thought it made me like dumber or like less deep or like, I don't know, just not as interesting as a person. I don't love to read books. I love to watch movies that are really good. I love to watch TV shows that are well written. Those are my ways of consuming fiction or a novel. I prefer watching it. I'm much more of a visual person. And that's how I consume. Actually, recently I started audiobooks, which if you don't know, if you have Spotify Premium, there's I don't know how many hours it is, but you get some free hours of listening to whatever audiobook that you want to listen to. Of course, I started with Britney Spears because why not? And then I listened to Jessica Simpson's, what was it? All of Me? What's the name? Jesus Christ, I can't believe I don't know the book. I need to do better at remembering the names of things I'm referencing. But I just listened to it, and it's funny how this ties to, remember how I said that I was obsessed with John Mayer? And I got a little nervous and everything. Turns out, after being in LA for about 5 years, having met people that have hooked up with John Mayer or that know him, or even like some like stuff I read of him, and definitely this Jessica Simpson book, made me change my complete idea of him. I think maturity helps too, because I just don't think that level of toxicity is hot and so attractive and like what a rock star at all. So yeah, John Mayer is not who I am aiming for these days. It's more Andrew Garfield. Favorite Spider-Man. Did I cry when I was watching Far From Home? No Way Home? No Way Home? The third movie. The third Spider-Man movie that stars Tom Holland, that, spoiler alert, has all three Spider-Mans. I physically cried when I was in the theater. Physically cried when I saw Andrew Garfield, and when I realized that he wasn't just doing like a little cameo, but that he was going to stay for the rest of the movie. Excuse me. And then he has this whole moment with MJ where it's like, Emma Stone. Yeah. So I've been hearing from so many of you about the podcast and what you've been enjoying hearing and what you've been curious about and what you want me to talk about more. So I think there's a lot of tela que cortar, dirían en mi país. Like, there's a lot of things to get through. But yesterday I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were talking about how even though I'm born and raised in Venezuela, and I left when I was 26, so I was a fully formed human who had lived a life, who had worked and studied and, you know, developed in some way, I haven't had that hard of a time blending into the US culture or the American culture. And a lot of people are like, why don't you have an accent? Did you take like so many dialect classes, or did you go to a specific school that was English only, or any of that? And turns out that none of those are the cases. None of those. Since I was very young, I remember we would come to the States, to Florida, to Orlando, Walt Disney World every other year, or for a time every year. And I was just always thinking that everything that happened here was better, was cooler, was nicer. I like Limited 2 was where I would do my shopping for the year. My dad would be like, all right, here's where we're shopping your whole year of things. And then I would go to Payless Shoes and get all the shoes there. I have a big foot. I don't know if this is some information that you guys need, but I'm a size 10, sometimes 11. And I've been that size since I was 15. So it was hard for me to find shoes in Venezuela. For some reason, they just didn't make them. And even though Zara was already there, their shoes were smaller because it's European. How do you say orma? Like, it's European width, or like the shoemaking is smaller, a little tinier. So I would have a hard time finding shoes. So whenever we came to the States, Payless Shoes, they had until like size 13. And I was like, okay, this is my time. And I would feel like those were the most cool, amazing, even though cheap, like, I don't know, expensive shoes. So yeah, I don't know. I just felt like everything that happened here was better. I think a little bit of that is the grass is always greener on the other side. I always thought things here were going to be better. Also because media from this country is so relevant globally that even though I wasn't living here, I was watching TV that was happening here and that was based here, and the humor was from here, and the music that I liked. Of course, I liked bands and artists in Spanish, but it was always seen like, okay, the ones that are from the States are better, are bigger, are like the most impossible to reach, or like, you know, they barely went to Venezuela to do tours. So it was a thing of like, I want the most what I can't have, or what feels like more of a perfect illusion. I grew up watching Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, and a lot of Sony Entertainment Television when it existed in Venezuela. That's where we would watch like Desperate Housewives, American Idol, America's Next Top Model, King of Queens. What else was it there? All the like sitcom-y things. That's where we would watch it. Or in WB, Warner Channel. That's where they would have Friends and ER and Smallville and Gilmore Girls and all these shows that I absolutely loved. And the thing is, those channels, because they were more for adults, they were not dubbing them. They were not dubbing the shows to Spanish, but they were instead showing them in English and doing subtitles in Spanish, which for me was essential to learning how people actually speak in the States. Because a lot of you guys probably, if you were born in the States and you went to school in the States, like high school and all of that, you probably had a Spanish class, right? And usually in Spanish class, you have a teacher that has a very thick, like Latino accent, I can imagine. That is exactly the same as it was back home in Venezuela. Like, I went to school in Spanish, and even though my school was International Baccalaureate, IB, we had English, and the English teachers were all Venezuelan. So a lot of them didn't speak like the proper English that is like what you actually hear when you're here. They would sometimes bring in like teachers from the States to do like a 6-month exchange program and stuff like that, but that's not where I learned. Like I remember to my friends when we were in class, I don't know, like senior year, like juniors, they were like, how do you know so much English? Like, I was not good at any of my subjects. I was not good at math. I was barely good at like Spanish, Spanish as in your English here, like literature and how to like do grammar and all that. Or biology or physical education, educación física. Oh my God. The things I do to get out of it or pretend that I was like so hurt or yeah, I was just not good in school. But English, English was my thing. Even though I can't speak right now, English was my thing. That's where I would excel at exams. That's where I would help my friends out in return for them helping me with like chemistry and physics. And it was all honestly just because I was watching so much TV and I cared so much about the music in English that I wanted to know what it meant, that I knew how people actually spoke. And when I was in class or like when I was doing exams, it wasn't like I was thinking, oh, what does it say in the book that you need to conjugate the verb to be? I wasn't thinking about that. I was like, how does it actually sound better? How do I feel like I've listened to it? How do I feel like I've heard Rachel Green say it before? I know it's wild, but hey, it worked out. So if you speak English and you have any interest in learning how to speak Spanish, I would say Duolingo might be good. The best thing that I can recommend is watch things in Spanish with subtitles in English. It's going to help you so much understand how people actually talk and how the things that you're learning, like by the book, actually sound in real life, because it's not the same at all. Speaking of the verb to be, okay, I have a question because I think I don't relate to the way people refer to dating here in the States, and I'm going to explain to you why. So, let's say I've gone on 3 dates with someone. I went on a date, right? That means I'm dating this person, right? Because like the verb to date, I dated, that means I'm dating them, yeah? Plot twist, no, that does not mean that. It doesn't matter if you've been on 6 dates with this person, you're not dating them. Like, you're not socially allowed to say you're dating them or you've dated them. It's like, oh, you've been on dates. Why are you making it so hard for me to find the love of my life? No, but it's confusing because then how do you refer to all these people that I've gone on dates with? They're my exes for sure. For sure. Have I called any of them my boyfriend? No. Have I introduced any of them to my dad? No. But they're my exes, right? Yikes. That's the hill that I will die on. They are my exes. We've dated. And when I say I've dated, that means I may have gone on, I'm not going to say 1 date, Because then I could say I went on a date with that person. But if it's more than 2, I'm so sorry. We've dated. Deal with it. Someone explain it to me. Someone please debate this with me. I really need to understand why there's a thing. Or is it that people are going steady? Is that what it is? People go steady? Isn't that from the 50s? So you're dating until you go steady? Or you're just in a situationship until you get engaged? Food for thought. Food for thought. The other thing that I have issues with in the dating department in an English language, which is not my first language. I love you. I love you. I love you here is I love you because I love that basketball game you won. So I love you, LeBron. Or I love you, Mom, because you gave me life. Or I love you because we've been dating for 3 months and I think you're the love of my life. Right. So it's all the same, yeah? You love your dog. You love water. You love to run. You love backgammon. You love talking to yourself in front of a camera and then posting it on the internet. You love those things. How do you distinguish, sorry, my stomach is really trying to make a cameo here. Why do you guys have the same word? I guess not why. You guys have it and that's it. But as a person that learned how to speak Spanish first and learn how to express herself in Spanish first, it is hard because we have so many variations. We have te quiero, which is very mild, I don't like you. It's not me gustas. It's like te quiero. Things are blossoming a bit. Te quiero mucho. Okay. We're progressing. I'm really into you. I really care for you. I really want you. Te adoro, which is adore you. But it's kind of I think less than te amo. Because te amo is cue the fireworks. This is the deal. That's te amo. If I say I love you to a guy that I have been seeing for 2-3 months, he's going to run the fuck away. Because it's very intense. I love you, saying I love you to someone feels so fast forward from I like you to I love you. That's a lot. But in Spanish, we have so many levels. So it is not the ideal way to express your feelings to someone because it might be a little too much, but then not saying anything, it's also weird. So I have actually sat down a couple of guys, a couple of the victims, a couple of my exes, and I've told them listen, just so you know, there's levels, yeah? So if I flip out on an I love you, it's not the fatality one. It's the stepping stone. It's hard. I want to hear your thoughts if you're born here, if you were born here, and if you've understood anything that I've said, because I've kind of blabbled a little bit, huh? Yeah, it's been a little blabbly. The other thing that I wanted to talk about today was some of you have wondered how I made this life happen for me, how I started and how it happened that I am pursuing my dream, which is hard, and it's a dream that a lot of people are chasing, yet I am obviously I have a roof over my head and I am fed a lot of times too much. I decided that when I left my country, I was going to do whatever it took and I was going to put myself open for opportunities and for situations that shaped me and that just allowed me to get ahead. So before I left Venezuela, I had never worked in a restaurant in my entire life. I just never had the need for it. I never, yeah, like the other jobs that I had there were like an internship at a content creation agency. Then I worked as a producer. I did like some tutoring. I worked at my university, but I never did anything that wasn't directly related to my talents. And when I moved to the States, that was the first thing that I had to kind of take off of my mind. And it's hard because when you come from a place where there's no culture of hospitality and service, and it's not as common to see a guy from high school, like someone you go to school with, to work at McDonald's or to work at, I don't know, Dunkin' Donuts or to whatever. All those jobs, they were not common in like when I was growing up, or the people that I was surrounded by. And when I moved to Miami first, it was hard because I was like, I had this shame, or I was, I guess, embarrassed to put myself in a situation where I was going to be a server in a restaurant, and then I was going to bump into someone that I knew from my life back home. And for some reason, that took me so much to get over. There was just this fear of being judged or being frowned upon or feeling like you're less than someone if you're doing that. And I appreciate so much all the people that I've met in the service industry and all the restaurants that I've worked, or like the retail stores where I've worked, that have kind of taught me that you're just doing the most honorable thing you can do to make a living. You're working. You're not taking anything from anyone. You're doing what you need to do. So many people that I've met are like in school at the same time as working, or they're saving up to open their own business, or they're pursuing arts like me. Someone's a singer, someone's an actor, someone's a producer, a director, a writer. So that is something that I'm so grateful for my experience living here, because I think it tones you down from this high horse of I won't do this or I wouldn't do that. Like, okay, well, the question is, what would you do to achieve your dreams? What would you do to make everything you've ever wished for happen? Exactly. And I currently work 2 different restaurant jobs in LA. I work as a server and I work as a host. And I also book sometimes things in acting. And I recently met someone at one of the restaurants where I work that was like, wait, I actually want to have a tutor to speak Spanish with, because I know Spanish, but I haven't spoken it in a long time. And I feel like I need to get back into like a conversational place. Would you want to sit down with me once a week and like chat, and I'll pay you for it? And I was like, you know what? No. I now think I'm not above anything or anyone. I'm just doing what I have to do. You do what you got to do. It's that simple. Is it sometimes not as easy as other days? Absolutely. I can't lie and be like, oh yeah, every day I wake up and I'm like, I cannot wait to scrub off food off of someone's plate, or like I cannot wait to have a baby like throw red sauce at me. That's not, obviously there's days of days, but it's just, I think, a testament to myself, not to anyone. It's a testament to myself of what I'm willing to sacrifice and how much I'm willing to bend myself to do what I dream of doing. It's that easy. I know people that haven't been able to deal with it. I know people that haven't been able to keep doing that, and they're like, no, because I've never done this before, and why should I keep doing this? And no, I'm better than this, and that's fine. But time will tell how that works out. I'm not wishing them anything bad. It's just, I obviously have one person in mind. I'm not going to tell you guys which person it is, but I obviously have a person in mind. I hope they go well, and I hope it's perfect for them, but I don't know. I think service jobs are the ones that give you the most flexibility to take time off if you book something. It's easy to have a coworker or a friend that you made at work that are like, yeah, damn, okay, you booked something, cool, I'll cover for you, and you do vice versa. Than on a corporate job. I once worked a very corporate job, and I booked this gig. Oh my gosh, this was in 2021, I think. They were doing, I think it was the last season of Insecure, the show on HBO created by Issa Rae that is insanely good, and I love it because it's like kind of like a Sex in the City vibes meets Girls, but in LA and with people of color, and it's so freaking good. So I was an extra on season 4, episode 5. But I got an opportunity. I got booked to do a whole week. It was a airplane scene, and because of COVID and regulations, it was like, okay, you had to, what was the name? Wow, I almost forgot the word quarantine. You had to quarantine at a hotel that they were going to pay for you. And it was like you had to be there for a week. And then the 6th day, I think it was when you were going to be on set. So they were going to pay you $300 of each day that you were at this hotel that they were paying for you, and they were giving you food to do this one day where they were also going to pay you like, I don't know, $125 for 8 hours or something like that. And I couldn't do it because I was working this very corporate job, and if you're in a corporate job and you need time off, you have to like request it ahead of time. 2 months, as many months as you can. And I remember I told my manager, I was like, hey, so I booked this thing. Is it okay like if I take this week off? And she was like, no. And I was presented with the decision of doing this thing that was a one-time thing that I booked, and that was going to be so nice and so fun and a great experience overall, or keeping my survival job that was paying for my rent in a time where production was very low. Sadly, I stayed with the job. I know. It's hard sometimes. Making that decision, it's hard sometimes. Because I do want to live a life that I feel that I mentioned this in another episode. I do want to live a life that's comfortable and that's sustainable for me to wait and be here and be patient and work on myself and meet people and be in love and, you know, all these things while I'm also pursuing my dream. I don't think they're exclusive one from the other. I don't think you should like give up everything. I obviously go through sacrifices. I'm already not living in my country. I'm already far away from my family. I haven't seen my grandma in 2 years. And those are my sacrifices that I'm putting on the line to pursue my, I don't know, this destiny that I think is there for me. I just have to get there. But the quality of life, it's hard for me to, it's hard for me to put that on the sacrifice box. I'm just a girl. I love shopping. Don't you? I can't open TikTok because they are always showing me things that I want, but I'm better at it. I'm better at not buying everything I see. So yeah. Life on set. Gosh, it's so fun. That's when I feel like I'm most myself. That's when I feel like I am exactly where I need to be. Fish in water. Pez en el agua. Estoy exactamente en el lugar that I am meant to be. I love the energy. I love the people. I always meet amazing actors, and I always have like a new takeaway for my life. And it's like a little stepping stone. It's literally a step towards what I want to do. I've had so many crazy like extra moments. I was in Star Wars. I was in Obi-Wan Kenobi. I know. Wild. That was insane. I remember when I booked that, it was, I think they were calling it Joshua Tree. The project, they were calling it Joshua Tree. I didn't have an agent at the time. Or I did have an agent, but they hated me. I'll tell that story. But it it was on Casting Networks, which is this website that you can get into, and you see all the things that are casting, how much they're paying, and you can self-submit to it. So I remember I saw this thing. It said that it was a Disney project. So I was immediately like, yes, I want to do it. But I didn't know what it was. And they did make us go to a place to do a fitting for wardrobe before the shoot. They also paid you for that. It's like $100 just to go and get fitted. And when I got there, just by saying the outfits, I was like, okay, this is giving Star Wars, but I don't really know if there's a new movie. I'm not a big Star Wars fan. So I was like, I don't know if this is a show or like, what are they doing? But I had the suspicion. And then the day I got on set and I saw everyone's hair and makeup, so cool. So freaking cool. And then being on set, they actually, it was like a spaceship. They created it and they had huge screens that were interactive. So there was like birds going by and there was like other like spaceships flying, and it seemed natural. It seemed like we were just there. And then crazy to see R2-D2 and C-3PO just like there on set with you. And the humanoids. And I didn't see Chewbacca, sadly. Chewbacca is my type. Tall, hairy, friendly, kind of beastly. I mean, who isn't into Chewbacca? But yeah, that one was really, 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 really cool. It's obvious that you can't recognize me. I have to show people like, okay, this is the episode, this is the second, and if you stop right there, you see me walking behind. It's exactly that. It's never like, hi, I'm here. Star Wars. No, I'm like walking behind someone a couple of times, several times. And the other one that I did that was insane, was for this movie Amsterdam. Came out a couple of years ago with Christian Bale, John David Washington, and Margot Robbie before Barbie. That was wild. That was a really hard day on set because we filmed in a cathedral in Pasadena, California. And it was in a cathedral that they just completely took over to create different sets. And I was there for like 8 hours without doing anything. Just, it was really cold, I remember. And I had this 1940s, 30s, actually 1920, 1930, 1940. I think 1940s. Outfit with really tight shoes, like these little booties with like their version of a kitten heel, tied up, super tight because again, big foot, and I guess at that time they didn't have big foot or something. So they were like a 9.5. I was struggling and it was cold and they didn't call for us until very, very, very later on. I was on set for 12 hours and I was on this place for 12 hours and I was only actually in front of the camera for about 2 hours. But it was so worth it. It was so worth it. It was this scene where Margot, Christian, and John David are dancing, the three of them together. And that was such a surreal moment. It was very surreal to be on a set and 2 meters away from Christian Bale performing. And he's so great. And this was a David O. Russell movie. And he's very into improvising and making up scenes as they go. So I experienced it was so crazy. It was that felt like a dream, truly. Seeing David O. Russell behind the camera and Christian Bale here acting exactly into the camera. And I was just there witnessing it. I was like, what is my life? What is my life? And just being around that energy helps with manifestation, I think. And then, seeing this new scene be created and the director telling Margot her lines, and she was wearing this black short wig that I had never seen Margot with, not her beautiful blonde hair. But, this was all secret. You couldn't take photos, anything. I I learned a while ago when I went to see The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. It was like their last rehearsal, final rehearsal before they actually launched it. I think this was 2014. And we were in line just waiting to get in there. And one of the pages from Rockefeller Center was like, hey guys, so no phones, please. We're going to take them. If you have them out, it's just, this is a new experience. This set has never been seen by anyone. It's never been broadcasted. They're still figuring out some stuff. Jimmy's new at this, and the guests are also here just to prove what works, what doesn't, and enjoy it. Just take mental pictures. Just be here in the moment. Don't film it. Don't do anything. And that's exactly what I did. And that stuck with me for experiences when you can't really have your camera, or you're on set, or you're like, I don't know, at a Hollywood party or something where you have like these insanely talented, famous people that you've grown up watching and all of that. I think that prepared me to be like, yeah, this is my life. I'm just taking mental pictures of everything. And that's how I want to keep it. All right. I think I've talked a lot today. This might be a bit of a long episode. We shall see. Thank you so much for everyone that's been watching. Remember that it helps me so much if you subscribe, if you share it to your friends, if you comment, if you rate the episodes. If you're on Spotify, you can't rate an episode unless you've listened to it. So remember that. You can also comment on Spotify. It's Better Late with Mariela Segovia. On YouTube, same, Better Late with Mariela Segovia. Share with people that you think are going to feel connected to it, or that are going to see me and be like, whoa, that is exactly what I've been doing with my life. And yeah, it helps me so much. I love that you guys are loving it. Let's make other people love it too. My Instagram is @MarielaSegovia, @BetterLateMariela for the podcast. And I will see you soon in a next episode on Sunday. New episodes every Sunday. Don't forget. Bye.